Hello, YouTube fans and gamers out there. This is BJN1990, and today I am going to tell you a story about my first experience with video games. The year was 1997. It was around March, so I was only 6. I wasn't 7 yet. Well, tragically, my great grandmother, bless her soul, passed away, and me being only 6 years old, I had to stay at another relative's house, and she had a Super Nintendo, so I played that and I was hooked. That was an awesome system, and one of the games I thought was really cool for 6-year-old me was this game where I thought a princess turned into a flying, what I said, monster dragon, but no, I've looked up the gameplay of that said game many years later, and come to find out did not turn into a monster slash dragon. She was kidnapped by a monster slash dragon. I did not know what that game was until many years later when a friend told me it was called Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I thought back then, even though I didn't know what the game was, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Well, sadly, that relative I was staying with, she passed away 2023, and I want to find that game. I don't know when it'll happen, but I want to get that game in her honor. But anyway, another good experience for me was when I was 9. I was at my aunt's house, and her daughters, my cousin, had an original PlayStation, so I played a few of those games. And I don't care what people say, the 1997 version of Frogger is amazing. It did not deserve the criticism it got. I mean, the only gripe I had was that stinking uncanny crusher level. And another good experience for me with games was when I used to go on trips with my grandparents. We would sometimes stay at hotels, and sometimes they would have the LodgeNet controllers. May LodgeNet rest in peace. And they had Super Nintendo, and I would play Super Mario World or Donkey Kong Country. Let's just say it's a good thing there was only an hour time limit on those games, or else I would be up all night. And then 2000, Christmas, I got a PS2, and I mentioned this in my anniversary PS2 video. Unfortunately, the game system kept getting disc reader, so my grandfather, bless his soul, had to get another one, and then we kept having issues, and after he passed away in '09, I decided to just get rid of the fat PS2, but fast forward 2023, my dear sweet aunt got me a slim PS2 model, and yeah, I need to play that. And just, yeah, those were some good gaming experiences for me. Oh, I also did a raffle back in 2003. A shoe carnival not too far from where I lived had a grand opening. They were giving out door prizes. I was I repeat, two numbers off from winning an original Xbox, but I guess it wasn't meant to be, but still. Oh, and my late grandfather in 2001 bought me a Game Boy Color at a Kmart. Sadly, that Kmart was closed a year later, but still, I mean, I'll always cherish that. And I also was able to get a Game Boy Advance at a Target. It was like a day or two after Christmas, so couldn't pick. I could not pick any colors. It was either that one or nothing. And I also remembered, unfortunately, that Game Boy Advance broke, but my grandparents let me get a Nintendo DS to replace it for my 17th birthday, and that year was also the first. Also, when I turned 17, the first thing I wanted to do was buy a mature rated game, which I did. True Crime New York City PS2, good game by the way. And it was that year. I was a really I realized I was a really lucky person to have such awesome grandparents. 2007, I wanted a Nintendo Wii, and every stinking place we went to, I got the same answer: sold out. I even went as far as to saying, "You have any Wii's? Please don't say no." And they said, "Sorry." But my grandparents, God bless both their souls, my grandparents did their best. They made like 20 phone calls. One person hung up on my grandmother, but my grandparents were able to find one last Wii at our local GameStop store. And she asked my grandfather to go get it. I wasn't at home at the time. I was probably doing something else, but yeah, they were able to. My grandfather was able to pick up the last Wii at the local GameStop. The guy behind him didn't get one, unfortunately, but it was fortunate for me. And apparently, they got it in November of that year. And my grandmother told me that they had it for a month, and we had a local restaurant we go to back in our hometown every week. We went there so much they knew us by name, and they made them promise not to say a word for me, and they kept it. Kept that promise. And what was another good gaming experience? I mean, there were so many good gaming experiences. I could go on and on all day, but I think I'm just going to end it right here. Yeah, but that was some of the best gaming experience I ever had. Now I have a question for you guys. What was your first gaming experience, and what was some of your best gaming experiences? I would love to know. Please let me know down in the comment section below, and I want to thank you for watching this and all of my videos. Thank you, and happy gaming. Have a good day. Take care. Goodbye.